So today we're going to be going over 10 fragrances that you should buy in the largest bottle size. I've done videos similar to this one in the past, and I like doing these because when it comes down to it, a lot of times people who are going to be purchasing a fragrance don't plan on purchasing that same fragrance multiple times. You know, a lot of times you don't think, oh, I'm going to go out and buy this fragrance and then in a few years down the line, I'm going to buy it again, right? You're always thinking ahead and thinking of the next new and different fragrance you want to purchase. So when it comes down to choosing the bottle size, which there are a lot of times multiple different bottle sizes, anywhere from as low as 30 ml up to 200 ml, you really have to sit down and think, okay, how much am I going to wear this? How much am I going to use this? And is it worth springing for the largest bottle that I can get? And also when it comes down to it, when you purchase the big bottles, you actually get a better deal when it comes down to the price per milliliter. So just as a simple example, if you buy a 200 ml bottle, a lot of times it'll be cheaper than if you buy a 100 ml bottle 2 times, right? You're getting more of a discount on that price per mil as you purchase a larger size bottle. So in reality, even though a 30 ml bottle will be the cheapest, if you were to buy that 30 ml bottle 3 times to try to get close to a 100 ml, that would end up costing you way more money than if you just bought the 100 ml bottle. So if you guys have interest in any of the fragrances that we're going to be talking about today, they will be linked down below to fragrance discounters, places like FragranceNet, FragranceX. Those are 2 of the main websites that I shop with the most in order to purchase my fragrances, and they will be linked down below. So let's go ahead and crack right into this one. We have a lot to cover today. First up, this guy right here, Acqua Di Gio Profondo, and the big 200 ml bottle. This thing's a beast, and this is my second bottle of Profondo. My first one was just the 100 ml or 125 ml or some kind of weird random size that they have. I don't think it's a standard 100. This one is a standard 200 ml, and this again was the second bottle I purchased. When this one first came out, I was so intrigued. I was so excited to try it, and honestly, I wasn't expecting all that much out of it. I really wasn't. I'm like, okay, what else could they do to make an aquatic fragrance that is different and that stands out? But they did it here with Profondo, and of course they being Alberto Maria's master perfumer, he really created something that is photorealistic, that is very refreshing, very vibrant, has this minerals, aquatic, orange, citrusy, slightly fruitiness about this one, but primarily it's all about the minerals and aroma chemicals in here to create something that is very, very mass appealing, great compliment getter, and is ultra versatile for summertime. If you want to play it safe, if you want to grab something that you can wear for any situation in the warmer months, spring and summer, Profondo is currently, in my opinion, one of the best on the market, along with, of course, Profumo from the same line, and there's a few other aquatics as well, but really, Profondo, for me personally, has taken the center stage and has become one of my favorites. I wore it a ton last summer, hence why I decided to go ahead and grab a 200 ml backup, and I wish I would have done that in the first place. This one you can run through in no time. If you really do enjoy it, you're going to be wearing it multiple days in a row, going relatively heavy on the trigger depending on what situations you're going into. It is a good performer, but sometimes you may want to go with a bit more so you can smell yourself, and you'll put a dent in this bottle quicker than you may think. So Acqua Di Gio Profondo, spring for the 200 ml. That's the best way to go, in my opinion. Second up, we have Azzaro Wanted by Night. And really quickly, I just want to point out, most of the fragrances in this video I own the biggest bottle of. However, you're going to find that there's a few in here that I don't own the large bottle of, and those are ones that I wish I would have sprung for in the beginning. So it's kind of like a learning process for me as well. Wanted by Night, this is the 150, and this is the biggest bottle size that this one comes in. This one, the reason why I picked this bottle size up was really just because it made the most sense. At the time when I was getting this one on FragranceNet, there was not a big difference between the 150 and the 100, and I figured might as well get the 150 because I had a feeling that I wasn't going to regret it, and I definitely don't. I really, really like how Wanted by Night turned out. A lot of you guys probably know this if you're a fan of the channel, you've been watching me for a while, but the original Wanted isn't my favorite. I'm not a big fan of it. It's just too lemony and Victus heavy and kind of headache inducing for me just to shoot it straight with you. But Wanted by Night adds this nice cinnamon, warm spiciness on top of that DNA. So it still has that mass appeal, bubble gumminess, but a nice warm spicy sexiness about it, just giving a little bit of a mature type of smell, also making this one a very pleasant flanker, one that you can definitely burn through quickly if you're wearing it often. And again, for the price of this one, you might as well go for the 150 if you think you're going to be wearing it a lot. Great scent to have here in the collection, good performance, and again, great price. That is wanted by night. Following along, we have a niche fragrance, and this is going to be the only niche fragrance in this list. I went all designers except for this one, but I did want to throw this one in here. This one's from Nishane, and of course this one is Ani. This is the 100 ml bottle. Most Nishanes that you're probably familiar of are offered in 50 ml, and actually, in fact, when they were first rolling out their fragrances, 50 ml was all you could get, and these all are straight fragrances as well. And to be realistic, for a lot of them, 50 ml is all you need, because for an straight, these are all very strong. All the Nishanes that I've smelled have been beast mode. However, there's something about Ani that is so addicting for me that I am so glad that I went with the 100 ml, because there have been some fragrances, niche and designer, that I bought, the big bottle of, that I kind of sat there and I was like, why did I do that? Because I don't wear this. I don't particularly enjoy it that much. It's just kind of like, what's even the point? And so I've been there and I've done that. That's kind of why I'm doing this video, to give you some guidance. But Ani is one that I've never thought that about. The fragrances in this list, I've never thought that about. I'm so glad that I got the 100 ml. Every time I pick this one up, every time I smell it, every time I spray it, every time I talk about it, I'm like, you know what? I'm so glad I just sprung for the 100 ml bottle of this one. You can get the 50 ml, and it's probably going to be enough for a lot of you guys. But if you're really a vanilla lover, if you really want something that is just a completely different, unique experience for a niche fragrance, and of course a vanilla fragrance as well, Ani is such a great pickup, and it's so refreshing to have this much fragrance to burn through. You don't need a lot with this one, but that does mean that this will last you a long time, and you can spray it heavily in the cooler months if you want to, and still have plenty left over. One of my all-time favorites. This stuff turned out so good. That is Nishane Ani. So following up, we have a fragrance from Versace, and this is one where I wish I would have gotten the 200 ml bottle right off the bat. And actually what's funny is I have two 100 ml bottles of this one. Both of them are running very low. I decanted these out back when I was selling decants on eBay a couple years ago. I don't do that anymore, so these bottles just kind of sit here being basically empty. I should just kind of toss these out and just refresh with the 200 ml to save some space, because it's kind of silly to have two almost empty bottles. But this one is Versace Eau Fraiche. One of the first fragrances that I ever purchased to start off my collection, and that is what I'm left with on this bottle. Again, same thing, my other bottle is very low as well. A lot of it was decanted out, but a lot of it was worn, because again, I wore this stuff heavily when I first got it. Musky, citrusy, starfruit fragrance, so refreshing, so bright, one that you can spray heavily and not offend anyone, and that right there is one of the reasons why you should get a 200 ml. It's also just ultra versatile. You can wear it any time of the year, really, for anything. It's best suited for spring and more specifically hot summer days, but if you want a signature scent, this one will get the job done as well. If you really like it, you can rock it all year round, and who really cares? Again, the 200 ml of this one doesn't really cost that much more than a 100 ml. So if you really like the scent, if you think you're really going to enjoy it, if you want a nice summer signature scent, go ahead and spring for the 200. I can promise you, you're not going to regret it. Moving along, we have a fragrance from Dolce & Gabbana. This one is the One Royal Night. One of the many flankers. At this point, the One is starting to really branch out. We're getting a lot of flankers. Most notably, the newest, the One Luminous Night just came out, and so they're adding to the flankers quite often here. Royal Night is one that does get overlooked and is one of my favorites. Really what this one does is it takes the One DNA, removes the tobacco, and places emphasis on the amber. So for a lot of people, that's going to be sacrilege. You're taking out the tobacco, which really makes the One what it is. And I agree with you 100%. That tobacco amber combination is just so out of this world good. However, you'll hear people every day on every forum, on every YouTube comment saying that the one eau de parfum has crappy performance. And yeah, the new bottles of it doesn't perform that good. However, the new bottles of Royal Night performs really good. So I will tell that to people. I will say, look, if you want a better performing the one and you can sacrifice tobacco, check this one out. And people get mad. They're like, oh, why would you take away tobacco? I don't want that crap. Get that out of my face. And I'm like, well, you're complaining about performance. If you want good performance and you want to kind of, compromise a little bit, the one Royal Night. It's worth getting in the 150. You'll burn through it pretty quickly if you're really wearing it heavily and you're going with a few sprays on it. As you can see, this bottle here, I put a dent in, which usually doesn't happen all that often with my fragrances because, well, I have quite a few of them and I'm always testing different things, but this guy here does get quite a bit of attention from me. The one Royal Night, worth grabbing the big bottle of. A lot of you guys will love this one. Now, if there's one fragrance out there that is just kind of like, why would you not get the biggest bottle size of? You can. This is going to be it. This one is from Dior. This one is Dior Homme Cologne. So anyone who has smelled this, anyone who has any idea about this fragrance will agree that you will need a lot of this one. You will go through this quickly if you're wearing it on a consistent and regular basis in the summertime. This is one of my favorites. Every time summer comes around, this is high in my rotation, and really a lot of times I can't help but start to sneak this one in once we get into kind of mid to late spring as well, when it really starts to get warm and I can't wait any longer. I'm pulling out Dior Homme Cologne. I wear it all the time in the warm months. This is my 200 ml backup. I have a 125, I believe is what it is, which has a nice significant dent in it because I wear that one. This one here I don't really wear at all. I probably have sprayed this one, but other than that, it's still topped off, ready to go for me. This one here, if you're going to invest the money into Dior Homme Cologne, because this is not a cheapie, just get the big bottle. You're not going to regret it. I mean, you can't beat the look of this bottle. That itself makes it worth picking up just to have around in your collection. And the scent inside goes along with that and is a stunner for summertime. That is Dior Homme Cologne. You're going to be spraying it heavily, and if you like the scent, you might as well make the investment up front. Moving along, we have Boss Bottled Tonic in the 200 ml bottle, and I have to say this is probably the most ridiculous 200 ml bottle I have. I have quite a few of the 200s and even the 150s, which can get pretty big as well. But this one just seems obnoxious. I mean, this seems bigger than all the other ones, probably because it is round. Like my Profondo, that's a 200, but it's a bit more narrow and tall. This one just has it all going on. It has a massive cap. The bottle itself is huge. It's just obnoxious. It looks kind of like a toy. Like, it looks ridiculous. Kind of stupid, actually. However, same thing here with this one. It just made sense to grab this size bottle when the price wasn't that much of a difference on Fragrance Net. I'm like, okay, might as well just get it. I was curious about, what these look like in person because I just have the standard 100s of the Boss bottled fragrances. And yeah, it's as ridiculous as it looks on camera. However, a fragrance like this, very fresh, has a bit of a Versace Eau Fraiche type of smell. However, a bit more emphasis on kind of the citrus aspect, kind of a tart bergamot, more of a citrus touch, whereas the Versace is more starfruit muskiness. Still quite a bit different though, but it does share some similarities to that one. Ultimately, a fresh summer versatile scent, one that you can spray heavily. You can go ham on the trigger with this one and it's just going to work, and you have plenty here to do so with the 200 ml. It just makes sense. It's not that much more expensive. If you want a dumb reach that you can toss around and spray on when it's really hot outside, get the 200 of Boss Bottled Tonic. Starting to run down to the end, third fragrance from the last one here. We have one from Azzaro. I've talked about this one quite a bit on the channel. It's actually one of my favorites from Azzaro, and more specifically from their Chrome line, which at this point has tons of flankers. This one is Chrome United. So this has a very nice, somewhat realistic, and I say somewhat, but somewhat realistic tea note in here. So it's tea, it's musk, it's citrus, it's a little bit of a fruity sweetness, and it's done in such a nice way. It's not Silver Mountain Water. It's not Nishane, Oolong Sha, a couple great tea fragrances on the niche side of things, great quality scents. But for the price that this one goes for on discounters, which for 100 mils, around $20, and for this 200 mil, maybe $30, $35, something along those lines, that's not a lot of money for this much fragrance for a bottle this big. That basically is a cheapy price. And really the bottle itself is pretty nice. It does have texturing on the bottom there, which is cool. I'm not really sure what the point of it is because you don't really see that, and it doesn't really help it not slide around. I mean, it's still glass, it's still going to slide around, but it does match the texturing on the cap. Pretty cool bottle. One nice touch is the blue atomizer straw in there, which is a nice touch. Maybe it shows up a little bit. Cool bottle all around. Very nice, very hefty, very solid for a 200 mil. And again, the scent, great, refreshing, summertime, casual, and playful type of scent. This next one is from Carolina Herrera, and interesting about this one, at one point, I did own a 150 ml bottle, which is the biggest bottle size you can get. And actually, I got that bottle for, I want to say like $55 or $60 from FragranceNet for the 150. And to give you an idea, that's normally what the 100 ml goes for. In fact, probably if you hit the link down below and look at it right now, it's probably at like $50 even for the 100 ml if it's in stock. That's what these go for all the time. And to get an extra 50 mils for $5, $7, maybe $10 is a no-brainer. Again, this was a while ago. It's probably not at that price anymore. This one was CH Men Prive. Again, I got 150 mil for, let's just say $60 is probably about what it was. That's a killer price when you can get these 100s for $50. This one is a whiskey, leather, boozy, sexy, sweet, slightly powdery scent. I'll tell you, still one of my favorites. I love how this smells. I don't love how this performs, but I love how it smells. Such a nice scent. I love that leather. I love that whiskey in here. It's a great wintertime fragrance. It just doesn't have the performance to be that good of a winter scent. So for me, it's kind of more fall and spring, a bit more mild, spray it heavily. Here where I live, it can get brutal in the wintertime, and this one just can't hold up. It's a shame. It's a bummer. They should have done something about the performance with this one and really beefed it up, because it's kind of wimpy for the note breakdown and the composition of this one. You smell it, you think it's going to be a monster, but it's a 6-hour fragrance, and in wintertime, that's going to get knocked back quite a bit. However, it is worth spraying for the 150 mil because you're going to have to spray this one a bit heavier to get some solid performance out of it. But it is a great one to have, very high quality for the price, and still a great smelling designer scent. And last up, we have Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. This is the 150 mil, biggest bottle you can get of this one. And this is actually my first bottle of Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. I got this one back when Notino was around in the United States, and they had this for such a steal of a price, probably less than $100, which for a Chanel and for a 150 mil is unheard of. And that right there is the reason why Notino is no longer with us in the United States. It's just a whole issue with Chanel. They're no longer here. You can't buy from them anymore. They had some great deals on these Chanels though. Unfortunately, the best way to get these is from Chanel direct or some other retailers, Neiman Marcus or whatever, just so you can avoid fakes. If I can find a link to a reputable seller on eBay, I will link it down below, because a lot of times some great sellers with several thousands of positive feedback will have these Chanels, and I bought from them as well. And if I could find a link to them, I will link it down below so you can grab one, at least at somewhat of a discount. This one here has tonka bean mint orange. It's creamy, it's sexy, it's a bit fresh, but ultimately it's very versatile, and it's a great compliment puller, especially when you first spray this one on and it's projecting like crazy. So guys, there you have it. That is 10 fragrances that are worth buying in the biggest bottle size. Again, if you're going to make the investment on these, you might as well get the biggest bottle, because for a lot of these, it just makes sense. They're very wearable, they're very versatile, and you'll probably be running through them and making a dent in them quicker than you may think. Remember, if you have interest in any of the fragrances that we talked about today, they will be linked down below in the video description. That's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.